We like to call it the Supernatural Hour. And now, our hosts.
You are listening to the Supernatural Hour. I'm Tim.
I'm Raven with a Y.
Jeff.
Or
Chad.
Lurch. I don't know. Should I go? I don't.
I love Lurch.
You like Lurch?
Well,
Okay.
Well, you gave it to him. That's why you like Lurch. Like,
It feels weird referring to myself in third person as someone else. Does that make sense? Raven. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does, Lurch.
I'm Beaker. I don't know why I dropped that. I just started going by Tim all of a sudden.
Although the funny thing,
Castle left, and I'm Tim.
We'll call you Beaker.
I lost myself.
Okay, so I'll be Lurch, aka Jeff.
So the funny thing though is, in my phone, you are still Jeff.
Okay.
Mine too.
Because I knew,
Oh, good.
I knew he was Jeff first for a long time, a couple of years.
But you have a brother Jeff, and that's why the nickname came around.
Yeah,
Just
because
keep me.
Well, he was
keep me
also on
confused.
the team, and we couldn't go with
Yeah.
Jeff C because you both had the same first
right.
initial.
Yeah.
You were both Jeff C. So
I was like, okay, you are now Lurch. So
because
that
of
we can-
your previous occupation as a funeral director,
Yeah,
we dubbed you Lurch.
it's appropriate. I dig it.
So, yeah. If anybody
cool.
puts their
But
foot down and
bunch.
says nay, I'll stop. But
Nay. Who keeps saying that? It was him. Simpsons reference. We were talking about it before you record. I ruined Deanne's opening Raven. That Raven.
okay, might have to use that. That's actually kind of good in a dorky way.
No.
Disney might have that copyrighted.
Yeah,
But
Not with a Y.
But I spell it different. So,
Oh, okay.
So
Well,
it's totally,
then I don't think they said it with a
totally
lisp either. That Raven.
Is it spelled like Raeyy?
Ravyn with a Y because I'm cool that way.
O umlaut?
That's the Alpha and Omega. It was just over 5 years ago. The four of us were actually in Rawlings, Wyoming.
Holy crap! Was it 5 years ago?
Yeah, it was when I
It's
first
been
started
forever
working at
ago.
Dan, and it was July like 10th, 11th, and 12th, I think.
We need to go on a group
It
outing
doesn't
again.
feel like 5 years though.
Yeah, it was 5 years. It was when I first started working at Dan, and I've been there just over 5 years now.
Wow.
Lurch, it felt 5 years for you when you were driving.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been such a long time, but I speaking of Rawlings, I believe you were recently there, weren't you?
We did. We took the kids back to Mount Rushmore, and we decided to.
Oh, I'm sorry. Like you did that on purpose, or
Yes.
okay?
Did we start singing the national anthem? Okay, so
Was it haunted?
No, we had
Oh.
our kids with us. We didn't do hauntings. So
It was still haunted, but we didn't do it.
we
okay.
decided to drive all the way there in one day, and then just slowly make our way back and see different things on the way home. But Rawlings was about the halfway point, and so we thought, well, that'll be a good place to get out, get some lunch. I said, we'll take the kids on the prison tour. So we did not the haunted one like we did, just the regular. Here's the prison, here's the bad guys, blah blah blah. So we did, and
Did they talk about any of the spirits during the tour?
not really. So the very last room they had us in, there was a gargoyle kind of up on a wall. And my daughter asked what the gargoyle was, and the lady says, well, apparently we're very haunted, so we put the gargoyle there to keep the ghosts away. And I thought, well, yeah, it's not doing anything, but, whatever.
So yeah, gargoyles. That keeps ghosts away. Is that a thing?
I don't think so, but
Not
she thought
really.
it was, so I was like, okay. And I didn't say anything because I didn't want to be that, that
but
jerk
no.
tourist, but I was like,
Was it the same girl that was there when we were there?
Yeah, she
The one
was.
that freaked out because she didn't believe in the paranormal. She didn't believe ghosts were real, but they're crossing my spirits over, guys.
Yeah, she was an odd duck.
no, it was some other lady. And then they didn't take the tour upstairs, and so I was like, kids, I've been up there. Let me tell you what's up there.
Did you see the gas chamber?
Yes, well,
Yes.
they did.
Nice.
Okay. Sorry, I'm not going to get political here.
No,
but
do it. This
I'm
one's
gonna do it.
good.
So
Not going to get political, but
You get as political as you want. I have this magic editing tool at home that can
No.
take stuff out if I want.
this isn't too bad. This was just, I found it funny. So as we're going up to the gas chamber, there's a staircase on the outside of the building that you have to go up. And the gal that was leading the tour, she says, now when you come up, please hold on to the handlebar. Hold on to the handlebar. There
The
might have
handrail.
been the handrail. There might have been one on both sides. She's like, use both hands, but we want to make sure
'Cause
that you
it's
don't
steep.
fall, and it's steep. So it's like, okay, so everyone's like manhandling this, bar. But then when we get to the gas chamber, she's like, we used to let you go in and sit and get your picture taken, but because of COVID, you can't do that now. And I'm like, but we can all manhandle the same
Yeah.
railing?
Yeah. Let's all touch the rail.
Yeah, can't put your clothed butt on a
Yep.
chair, but put your hands all over this rail that everybody
Make sure you
else
touch your face after you're done.
Don't worry, if you put plexiglass around it, it'll be just fine.
So, anyway, I had to highly contain myself.
Now, that was the same room where that jail cell was, right? Where the guy that like murdered the sisters or something like that?
Yeah,
Do you
that was
remember?
upstairs, and they didn't tell that story. And she did. In all fairness, she did say, "Please come back, and when you come back, ask for a different
tour guide.
tour guide." Not because I suck, but because everyone's got their different stories and their favorite, stuff. So, but that's not a story she told us. And I actually forgot about that. till
That
you
was
just mentioned
that
it.
was like one of my favorite kind of interesting things that happened at the prison. Because if I remember correctly, it was didn't the guy like carve the names or something into the cell wall or
I think so.
I-
and then the ghost of
like
one
he
of the
murdered the
ladies,
sisters and
then they came and they haunted him.
Yeah.
And they're there, and then he went crazy. And
Yeah, I mean, it was fascinating. If you ever get a chance to go to Rawlings Penitentiary up in Wyoming, I highly recommend it.
Because there's nothing else to do in the state.
Yeah, pretty much. I think it's besides Cheyenne. I think it's the only city in Wyoming.
Well, it's in the middle of nowhere.
All of Wyoming
in
only
BFE,
has-
Wyoming, and there's like oil mining nearby.
I think they have cowboys and
Yeah,
farms.
so I think that's pretty much it. So
Well-
it's kind of just a frontier city, kind of a stop, a way station.
We're all in
for-
2020, and Wyoming's in 1692,
Yeah, the frontier prison. It's definitely worth checking out.
It's
it
fun.
was really cool.
and extremely haunted.
Yes,
It's very, very haunted.
it is very haunted. Yeah.
That's probably one of the outside of Utah, of the like 4 places I've been. Probably one of the creepiest, like scariest places.
Yeah, and the gargoyle is doing absolutely nothing.
I don't know that it would
Just-
do anything. I thought gargoyles. I mean, they did serve a purpose about like warding off things, but I think it was warding off evil spirits, not spirits that were like already in the building.
Yeah.
I'd have to look it up. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't go ghost hunting, but since we'd been there, I kind of turned the feels on just to see if I could feel, anybody that had been there before. And now, granted, the gargoyle was in the very last room that we were in, but there were still the stuffs there, and there was stuff in the room that the gargoyle was in. So
And they continue to do nighttime ghost tours and
I kind of think the gargoyle is there maybe for people that work there to make them think that it's safe and they're not
I
scared.
mean, I got better things I could suggest, like obsidian, black tourmaline, amethyst, and selenite.
I actually thought it was kind of a cool gargoyle. I'm like, I wonder if I could get one of those for my.
For the
my
listener that
Halloween.
emailed us, I emailed someone and told them about some stones, and those are the stones I recommended for warding off negative energies, basically. Black tourmaline, obsidian, amethyst, and selenite. I'm not going to go too much into those. I will have a different stone later in the episode, but that's kind of like my starter kit for people that are looking to get into stones. Those would be the 4 that I recommend.
Cool.
Just for anybody that's... And that's what I would put around the prison. I put like black tourmaline and obsidian around the prison before I'd set up gargoyles.
This is a cool gargoyle.
This is what I would do.
But it's gargoyles.
Gargoyles.
They look cool.
That was a great cartoon in the 90s that I never finished watching.
It was black. It was, not too big, maybe about the size of a basketball, and kind of hunched over and smiling. I mean, it was cool.
All right. So I reached out to our good friend, Mr. Kent Dunn,
Awesome.
with Bacon Cell.
Yeah? Did you find out more about the grandmas?
I did find out. Do you know what makes this creepy?
What?
They weren't ghosts.
They weren't?
They were actual people.
And
they're
they,
actual grandmas.
They were actual grandmas.
and they wore like surgical masks, didn't they?
Yeah, he said mask. He didn't say what kind of mask.
Everybody's doing that now. Trendsetters.
This was, I guess so. This was the early 2000s up in Ogden. He says essentially there were 2 to 3 grandmas that ride single in an old white station wagon after
Yep.
3 a.m.
Yes.
He said they wore masks, which was unusual back then. In Centerville, everyone is asleep, so only the headlights you see that late were either the grandmas or dumb kids looking for the grandmas, basically. And he said they would aimlessly drive around and sometimes would just stop in the middle of the road. I guess he had some idiotic friends that had been chased by the car after looking for him too long. And the thing that just it made it weird because, like it said, it was like 3 a.m. in Centerville.
Yeah. What are
in that
three
area.
grandmas doing driving around wearing surgical masks in the early 2000s before COVID, when it was still unusual? What are they doing at 3 a.m. driving around?
They're having a Golden Girls moment, being all badass.
But he said it was like it was a consistent thing. He literally said it was a consistency that made it so weird. They were always around the same area at the same time. There was one time though they had to go pick up a friend that her car broke down or something at like 4 a.m.
Yeah.
somewhere outside of their normal territory, and they were there, and they like started following him and his friends. So it was just like weird. Like
That's weird.
Like who does that? Like
Yeah.
the fact that it wasn't actual ghosts or anything, it wasn't a ghost car, it wasn't ghost grandmas, it was actual people. That makes it creepy AF.
It does.
Did he ever see the grandmas? Did Ken ever see the grandmas? himself?
I think so. Because like I said, he had a friend who drove around. Her car broke down. They went to pick him up, and the grandmas were out there. So yeah, he went to go pick up his friend at 4 a.m, whose car broke down, and the grandmas were there, and they were outside of their normal like area that they drove around. Their turf.
Spreading their territory around.
That's creepy.
So
That is
maybe-
creepy. Yeah.
Maybe like the four of us could get.
Yeah, I'm not doing that.
Masks
I mean,
and
what-
just drive around Twilla or something.
Well, I got a bunch of those the COVID masks in my car. I get them for free at work.
So they were being followed around by the grandmas.
Yeah.
I mean, what are you gonna do when you have an encounter with them? Are you gonna get out of the car? Are you gonna?
Beat 'em up.
I mean, are they gonna like come at you with a baseball bat and a tire iron? Or
I have no idea. I'm surprised it happened here
You
in
know?
Utah because we're such a gun-toting state.
I would be so worried about doing anything like that.
But then again, at 3 a.m, like who's out besides teenagers?
Yeah.
So, I guess
were
the
they
threat
actual
really isn't there.
grandmas,
They
or
were
were-
actual.
But were they like teenagers dressed up like grandmas?
I have no idea.
See, it's like the YouTube videos, and I know it's somewhere in Europe where like the guy dresses up as a clown and jumps out of the shadows and scares people in the park garage. If you do that here in Utah,
You're gonna die.
You're gonna get shot.
Oh, my
They're
favorite.
gonna kill you first.
That's the first thing I thought when I saw those videos. The guy he has like a stuffed like fake body on the ground with like a watermelon that's made up to look like a head.
Yep.
And he pulls out a giant mallet and smashes the watermelon.
Yeah.
And people like freak out and take off. I think this is over in Europe somewhere.
I think
where
it's
they
in
do this.
Europe, yeah.
But it's like if that happened here in Utah or in Texas,
just
that
pull out
clown
a
is that clown's gone. That's all there is to it. Like,
You empty the magazine into their chest.
you, like,
you know,
you shoot first, ask questions later. Like
2 shots to the skull.
But there was one dude, and maybe we can add this to our list because I know there's a documentary on Netflix now about this guy. But there was a dude that like dressed up as clowns and
Wrinkles.
Wrinkles the clown.
Wrinkles the clown.
Not what we're talking about today. We'll add it to the list though
Okay.
because I we did an episode on clowns, and I did that with Gary and Mike, and I would love to do something like that with you guys. 'Cause
We'll talk about Wrinkles the Clown. I'm actually watching the document on I think it's on Netflix.
yeah, it's on. I believe it's Netflix. It's
Yeah.
Netflix, Hulu, one of those two.
Yeah, it's Netflix, and it's actually really interesting. But yeah, we'll stick a pin in it and we'll come back to that another day. That
Yeah,
sounds like a
that'll
good
be
idea.
So
Wrinkles the Clown.
I don't know that we have any recent investigations to go over.
No, we've got 2 coming up, so by next time we should have a couple of really
I'll have one as
interesting
well
ones.
because that's why I'm wearing my wrist shirt today. I'm actually doing an investigation after the show.
And I am wearing my wisp shirt too, and it's not because we have to have a uniform when we podcast now. That's what I put on.
It's for all the people that can see us while we podcast
It was just the first shirt I grabbed, so.
in the basement. With
And
the-
Lurch and I are wearing band shirts.
Yeah.
I'm the Who, and Lurch is Iron Maiden.
I am Iron Man.
Did you know that an Iron Maiden actually wasn't a real thing?
No, it was. It was
It
a torture
was.
device.
The Iron Maiden was actually not a torture device.
It had like little spikes.
yeah,
in it.
it's like a sarcophagus with spikes on the inside.
Totally legit, something they never used. Look it up.
Come on.
No, the history we can talk
Okay.
about that on another episode
All
too.
right,
But
that'll be
Okay.
Here's
fine.
the
Iron
note-
Maiden.
Next time.
We'll talk about it on the next episode. But
Okay.
the history of the
Wrinkles the
Iron
Clown.
Maiden,
Waggles the Clown.
Wrinkles the Clown and Iron
Wrinkles
Maiden.
the Clown
Wrinkles
and
the Clown.
Iron Maiden.
those two go hand in hand.
Yeah.
But the Iron Maiden, actually wasn't something that they used as a torture device. I think
know-
it was something that was created by Hollywood.
I think that I saw a little blurb that said that, but I never read the article.
I could be
so
wrong, but yeah,
I'm gonna have
from
to-
what I understand, the Iron Maiden wasn't actually a torture device.
I'm gonna have to do a little research on that.
People are
I'm
going to
gonna have to
wonder
look that up.
if this is like an actual podcast or if we accidentally recorded our brainstorming session.
No, see, this is what makes the shows entertaining. I think people like it a little bit better when we kind of
You never know what's
do
going to
this bouncy.
happen.
You don't know what we're going to talk about.
I like
we
the
totally have a
banter.
subject today, and we might get to it.
Eventually. Oh, and you know what? I'm going to give a little shout out to our new listener, Will McIntosh. He's actually a friend of mine. He's in the pipe band, and he was telling me about something paranormal the other day. And I said, "Do you listen to my podcast?" He's like, "No, you have a podcast." I was like, "What?" So yay. Well, Macintosh.
Well, if we're doing shout-outs, I'm going to give a shout-out to, don't know their real name, I just know them by iBurley. They're someone that I talked to online while watching my friend on her Twitch stream. I believe he's down in Australia. He was telling me that he had some people over redoing windows in his home, and he was listening to our Marie Laveau episode, which was the last one we did. So this was fairly recent, within the last couple of weeks. And they heard us talking about, the guys installing the windows heard us talking about Marie Laveau and then voodoo and that, and got really into the podcast because that's something that they're fascinated about. So
Sweet.
that's
And
cool.
And it's iBurley
iBurley, yeah.
from Australia.
From Australia, I believe, yes.
Not Idaho.
No.
Okay, because there's
Do
a
you know
Burley,
if it's
Idaho.
Do you know if it's East or West Australia?
I have no clue. Next time I'm online and I see him, I'll ask him.
Okay.
Sweet. Well, welcome.
Yeah, I've
Welcome,
mentioned my
iBurley.
show on my friend's Twitch stream a couple times, and he's actually checked it out, and apparently he likes it. So,
Sweet.
so thanks for listening. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thank you.
so 2 new listeners. Well, 4 new listeners, it sounds
Well, and I got a massage today, and the gal said, "Are you doing anything fun this afternoon?" And I said, "Yeah, we're doing an iPod or a podcast." And she said, "What?" And I said, "For the Supernatural Hour." And so she got the information. So there might be a couple of
See?
massage
Look at
envy
that.
people listening to it too
Look at
for the
us
first time.
grow.
A guy from work was also asking about the show. I think he wants us to do an episode on Skinwalker Ranch. So
here we go.
that is on the list. We got a lot of stuff that we'll talk about, but today
I told no one.
you told no one. It's
You're keeping it quiet.
you know the best
You don't really
place.
want people to know that you're doing this.
Just FYI, you guys are all sharing like new listeners, and I'm just like, yeah,
You know
that's cool. I've told no one.
A lot
You know,
closer.
you know what else is closer? San Jose, California.
Oh yeah, I would love to go to San Jose. Go to the Winchester Mystery House.
I got my name in the book.
I know you do. You and Brandy, you and Peaches.
Yes, sir. I would love to go there with you guys. I think that could be
That would be a fun
our
road trip.
next road trip. I mean, it's not too far. It depends on which direction you go. If you go I-80 through Reno, you drive through a whole lot of seeing nothing.
Yeah.
I didn't take that route. When I came home, I came back down through California, down into Vegas. Took the long way home.
Oh man,
No,
But I,
No.
But it
I
didn't
spent
seem as long, did it?
I spent the night in Vegas and then came home the following day.
Yeah.
But no, it's kind of fun because as you're driving from, because I went from Anaheim, I was in Disneyland, went up to San Jose. You drive past all these like hundreds of miles of, it felt like hundreds of miles. I don't know how many miles it was, but you're driving
Dozens.
through all of these like. I mean, there's so many tomato trucks on the road, but you're going through all these the orchards on the side of the road, all these farms of like apples and stuff. So there's a lot more to see if you go through that way. There's also a palace that someone built up kind of in that area as well.
First Mansion,
Yeah, they have a really
San Simeon.
the guy that he like shipped a bunch of stuff in from like other countries, like animals and stuff, and
From all over the world.
we'll get more into that in another episode as well. I don't know if
Just-
that place is haunted, but it's definitely on my list of places I want to go.
Just fly from Provo to San Jose super fast.
Yeah, like $60 one way.
I guess you could do that if you want to go that way about it.
Get there in about an hour instead of driving for 8 or 10.
12 hours. Because
Spend $300 on gas. And,
Reno is further
Yeah.
than Anaheim.
You thinkers.
you could fly to San Jose directly. There's an airport there. $60
There
through
is an airport.
Southwest.
I
I'm
did.
sure.
I've come
Provo.
I've come home from San Jose and landed in Provo. Alrighty.
There you go. But it is more fun, the whole road trip. Let's make a mixed CD and
And
share
annoy the
stories.
shit out of
and-
Lurch while he's driving.
Well, that's the reason why I drove, was because I didn't want to be crammed in the back, like wedged in between two sweaty bodies. I want my captain's chair with a little bit of a divider around me. My own seat with the armrests.
Okay, we have to let the listeners know when we went as a group. We did Rawlings, Wyoming, and we did the Stanley Hotel.
And I insisted on driving.
He
And I
insisted on
thank you for
driving.
that.
And then
I
it
get
was
nervous with other people driving too, man. I remember thinking like I'm gonna let someone else drive, and I didn't. I didn't want anyone else to drive. I
And
took
Lurch-
control.
Lurch quietly flips off people that piss him off when he drives.
I missed all that. I was in the back seat.
We were in
Yeah.
a 10
Tallest
passenger
guy in
van.
the tallest guy in the van, sitting in the very back seat.
10 passenger van. If you have never done that with us, you have never lived.
Yeah, I just put on my headphones, cranked it on repeat, or not repeat, but random on my music, and just rocked out. But yeah, I was flipping people off. That it's the people that are going 10 miles under the speed limit in the left-hand lane. You know, you don't pass on the right, you pass on the left. The left-hand lane is the passing lane. You know, you don't drive for miles in the left lane. So I'd be like, you know,
Well, some people
not
do.
riding on their tail, but like approaching their tail and being patient. But when they wouldn't move over into the right lane, I'm
6
getting
years
off.
later,
Yeah,
and he's still angry.
I'm
about
still
it.
angry about it. All right,
So maybe a
He
road
doesn't
trip.
hold grudges.
the left lane is for passing only.
Maybe a road trip
Okay.
with Lurch is not the best idea right now.
Get out of the left-hand lane unless you're passing. Rant done.
All right, so I'll drive
I'm
next
with
time.
you. I'm with you, Lurch.
So we'll take a plane. Got it.
Yeah, we can all book the same flight. We can all sit together on the plane. That's kind of a road trip, right?
The
Yeah,
Winchester
that
Mansion
is.
is really fun, though. I had a great time while I was there.
There could be some fun things in San Francisco too.
Yeah.
Alrighty, you want some wacky news? I
Let's
have
do
some.
it.
Now,
Wacky.
here's the interesting thing. This is wacky news that we actually experienced. So, on our way to Mount Rushmore, where we took the family this summer for their little vacation, there's a place called the Cosmo Mystery Spot. Have you guys heard of this?
The Cosmo Mystery Spot. No,
Really?
have not.
Negative.
Yes, I have.
Oh, you were there.
So I'd actually seen a little blurb of this. I don't know if it was on YouTube or TV several years ago, and had kind of forgotten about it. But it's if you go to Mount Rushmore, it's literally like 2 minutes away.
It's maybe 5 or 6 miles, but it's pretty close.
Okay. So anyway, it's very, very close. So you go off the road and you go back maybe a mile or two, and
Oh, is this the place that has weird, like, centers of gravity?
yes.
Yeah, they've got a house that's built all screwy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
So the idea was, and we could probably, I won't tell you too much about it because we could probably do an episode on this. I'll just give you
I know
some
we did an
basics.
episode on ley lines, and you talked about that house in Oregon. That was
Yeah.
like that.
So I think there's one in Oregon, and there might be one in California.
That would be interesting to see if that's where a ley line is.
Right. So, anyway, I won't give you the specs because we might talk about this. But basically, you go to this place in South Dakota, and the gravity is just weird. And when we first got there, I don't know the gravity, the electrical pole, something. Something is weird there. So they had these
The
two.
energy.
Yeah, that sounds good.
We'll call it that. But
What's it called again?
the Cosmos Mystery Spot. in
Cosmos Mystery Spot.
in South Dakota.
South
Did you solve it?
No. So let me tell you about it, though. Shush. And again, I won't do too many details because this could make a whole episode. But just a couple things. At first, you go, oh, well, everything's built kind of sideways and diagonal, so it's all, it's just optical illusions, big deal. They had a little ledge there. They put a ball, and the ball rolled up, but she put a level on it, and it showed level. And then she said, people accuse us of using magnets, so I'll use water. So she poured the water, and the water ran uphill. I have a video of this, and pours off. And again, you're thinking, all right, whatever, it's, optical illusion because everything's kind of built sideways and swampus. But then she says, look at the trees, and there's places, there's straight trees, but then there's areas where the trees grow
And bend,
and bend.
like bend down.
Yeah, and it's like, and then you're thinking, okay, well, it could be snow or, whatever. And so you can have all these things. But then she takes you into this room, and I am here to tell you, you're not just standing on, kind of a slanty hill.
Well, you are standing on a slanty hill.
I know, but the feel when you go to a hill and you're standing and you're kind of slanty? It's not that feel. There's something wrong in there. And not like spirit wrong, like the pull, gravity is weird in there. So in the corner, there's a ball, and the medicine balls like you exercise with, they're about 8 pounds or so.
Did you feel like the room was spinning
No.
at all? Or being pulled in like one particular area of the room?
Yes, because you take this medicine ball, and if you lifted it straight up, it just felt normal. It's like, okay, yeah, that's a bad name.
Yeah, it's not like, it's on a rope, and it's not like,
But it hung at the wrong angle. And then if you pushed it one way, it was really hard. It felt like it weighed about 200 pounds. But if you pushed it the other way, it felt like it was like 1 pound. And again, as you were watching everybody
and I
stand
think
there,
200 pounds is a bit of
it
an exaggeration.
felt heavy.
No,
so,
I would say like maybe 20 pounds. But
shush, felt like 200 pounds. So, and again, and people are standing there, but they're standing at an angle that's just not right. And again, you're thinking, oh, it's just optical illusion. But then you go outside, and there's nothing but trees. And Dawn, I have a picture. If Yeah, guys, remind me. I'll put these on the website.
Hey, if you could put these on the website, that'd be great.
It's awesome. But Don was just standing there. You know how, guys, when you're just standing there listening, your feet kind of apart, your arms folded across your chest, but he's like leaning back at an angle that's just not normal. And you were outside, so it wasn't an optical illusion because you're just. I mean, he's against a fence, and the fence was high enough that nothing would mess with your.
Yeah, I'm not touching the fence, but a fence is behind me in the background.
Yeah, so there's nothing to mess with your perception because it was a tall fence. And it's like, this is just psycho. It's if you've never, we'll do an episode on this, and we'll tell you more about it. But it is completely wacky.
Yeah, it says the Cosmos of the Black Hills was discovered in 1952 by two college boys looking for a place to build a summer cabin. When they entered this area, they experienced a slight imbalance, which increased considerably on entering the old house. The boys were interested and camped on the place while they investigated the odd phenomena. They decided that there was something of interest to the general public, so they began to fix the cabin up to make it safe and then develop the demonstrations, make it a tourist trap, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, they had like probably 6, 7, 8 different things that they did. And it's just
Am I the only one that heard that?
What?
You didn't hear like the loud sighing or like the voice in the headset, in the headphones?
I heard like maybe someone talking over there, but I assumed it was my kids.
No,
really?
It sounded like it literally sounded like someone was talking into when you were talking.
Yeah?
It sounded like there was a male also talking into the microphone.
Really?
Sweet.
So I wonder if Emmett was saying something just now, but it literally sounded like someone else was talking. Like I was looking around, like no one was that close to the microphone that would be causing.
And you heard
what
a
I
sigh?
heard. It sounded like a sigh, like heavy breathing into the microphone. But I was looking at everybody, and like no one's mouth was like close enough to pick that up.
Sorry, Emmett. I thought you were my kids.
Weird.
So I mean, I could be wrong, but I totally thought I heard
Okay, well let's go back.
like
to
someone else going and saying.
Before you go, we'll figure that out. I want to know right now. Not right now, but before.
Right now?
No,
Okay.
we'll finish our podcast. Sorry, squirrel.
Sorry. So
Anyway, so that was if you've never been there, go. If you've been there, I want to hear your thoughts. Email us your thoughts if you've been there, or the one in I think it's either Northern California or Oregon. There's another one that's similar. I actually tried looking that up, and I thought it was in California, and I couldn't really find anything. But you said Oregon. That sounds more right. That sounds righter.
Righter,
Righter.
not lefter.
More writer.
More righter.
It's more writer.
Okay.
That's
What about our
correct.
stone? Do we have a
Our stone. It is Lapis
Lazuli.
Lazuli.
That's a pretty one.
It is. It's blue and it's fleckled with gold. It says flecked with gold.
Reminds me
I
of
made
the
up a word.
evening sky.
Fleckled.
Fleckled.
That's my new favorite word, fleckled.
It is blue, fleckled with gold.
It's a righter word than some others.
Apparently, it's easily obtained but expensive, so it's not a cheap stone, but it's purty. So some
what
of the
does it
attributes.
do?
What it does magical stuff.
It
Okay,
looks,
thanks.
It looks beautiful.
That was great. Now,
Hey, we'll
now
see you
what
next
else?
week.
Magic.
So and actually it helps open the third eye and it helps balance your throat chakra. Now it stimulates enlightenment and enhances dream work and psychic abilities, facilitating spiritual journey and stimulating personal and spiritual power. The stone quickly releases stress, bringing deep peace. It possesses enormous serenity and is the key to spiritual attainment. The Lapis Lazuli is also a protective stone that contains spirit guardians. This stone recognizes psychic attack, blocks it, and returns the energy to its source. It teaches the power of the spoken word and can reverse curses or disease caused by not speaking out in the past. Or dis-ease, sorry, I read that wrong. This stone harmonizes the physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual levels. Imbalances between these levels can result in depression, dis-ease, and lack of purpose. In balance, the harmony brings inner self-knowledge. Lapis Lazuli encourages taking charge of life. It reveals inner truth, encourages self-awareness, and allows self-expression without holding back or compromising. If repressed anger is causing difficulties in the throat or in communication, Lapis Lazuli will release these. This stone brings the enduring qualities of honesty, compassion, and uprightness to the personality. It's a powerful thought amplifier. It stimulates the higher faculties of the mind, bringing objectivity and clarity. It encourages creativity through the attunement to the source. Lapis Lazuli helps you to confront truth wherever you find it and accept what it teaches. It aids in expressing your own opinions and harmonizes conflict. It teaches the value of active listening. It also bonds relationships of love and friendship and aids expressing feelings and emotions. It dissolves martyrdom, cruelty, and suffering. As a gem essence, it dissolves emotional bondage. As far as healing goes, and I always say take these with a grain of salt, because I don't usually recommend stones for curing physical ailments. It's more the spiritual and energetic things that I recommend stones for. So Lapis Lazuli, it alleviates pain, especially that of migraine headaches. It overcomes depression, benefits the respiratory and nervous systems and the throat, larynx and thyroid, cleanses organs, bone marrow, thymus, and the immune system. It also overcomes hearing loss, purifies blood, and boosts the immune system. It alleviates insomnia and vertigo and lowers blood pressure. Now, when you're wearing this, you want to wear it in place at the throat or third eye. It should be positioned above the diaphragm or anywhere between the sternum and the top of the head. So again, that's Lapis Lazuli, and it's interesting. It almost seems like every week, and maybe just every stone out there works with depression, but it seems like every week I seem to pick a stone that has something to do with helping in depression and emotions.
I think we all need that this year. I think we're all like super depressed this year. This is one I actually carry because of the throat chakra.
Yeah, it's a good one. If nothing else, it looks pretty.
It is, and if there's there's a little rock shop in Moab that if we don't go to when we go to visit there, and I go down there a lot. We go down there a lot because I've got family down there, but they actually sometimes have some decently priced lapis lazuli.
All right, that's our stone for this week. Day, episode, show.
So when we did business earlier, we forgot to mention that we are going to try to have something as far as a public investigation soon. So watch for that. We haven't figured anything out yet. But we haven't figured it. We haven't worked out details yet. That made me sound like we were clueless. We are not clueless most of the time.
Nope, that's saved for Alicia Silverstone.
So yeah, watch the website, watch the Facebook pages. We'll get something up soonish.
So yeah, thanks for listening, everybody.
Au revoir.
That's so sort of Raven.
Adios.
You've been listening to the Supernatural Hour at AdvancedParanormal.com. The Supernatural Hour is part of the Radio Ronin network found at RadioRonin.com. Copyright by Advanced Paranormal Services.